But speaking about true American animation,
Okay,
Zach,
good.
you said you finished it.
I did, yeah.
Invincible.
It's back.
Tell me.
Season 2. Look, I mean, not a whole lot to report if you've been up to date on Invincible. Okay. It remains the same brutal, hard-hitting, surprising, and pretty charming show.
Season 1 was incredible, right? We both agree.
Yeah, season 1 is incredible. Season 2, I think, is really solid. I wouldn't say I'd put it on the same level as season 1. And to be honest, I'm wondering how much of my relationship to that quality is this sort of feeling I'm getting of how abbreviated it is. Because we got those 4 episodes at the end of last year, and then a couple months break, and now we got four more episodes recently. And they, maybe it's because I'm not somebody who was immersed in the comic book world where people are used to waiting a month for just like a little update on the story or something like that.
They're trying to animate it.
It feels truncated in a way that the first season didn't, especially because like this is such an expansive show, right? Like they are constantly throwing out different storylines and different characters, and characters are leaving the show in a way that makes they'll be back at some point. And the way that season 2 ended is not nearly as like big of a conclusion as the way season 1 ended. So while I'm enjoying every bit of it, and I'm still like, I'm captivated by the story. I'm surprised by the sudden turns they will take and their willingness to just go really, really brutal. It's just it doesn't feel quite as much like it's a rising to this one big moment the way that season 1 did. It feels a little bit more like TV now. Like here's your little update on the characters, and I don't know. There's fewer things of major consequence that felt like they happened this season. There's a lot of almost like skirting up to the line where they could have made a big decision than not actually going over that line.
Really? Okay.
So it's an interesting balance that a show like Invincible has to play with, because they are so willing to just suddenly kill off major characters or suddenly blow up a scenario that could have otherwise been, fodder for 3 seasons of TV, that when they don't constantly kind of blow things up, it feels like you're not necessarily getting as big moments as what preceded it.
Season 1 just blew their whole load then. And I agree with you, because even season 1, with the way that they did intros, like you were saying, now it feels like they're checking in, but season 1 felt like, whoa, they're doing something different with this episodic approach. Yeah. And I agree, when they did the split to A and B, that's where I was like, wait, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And do you take any of the behind the scenes into account? Because this is something Spider-Verse is dealing with as well. Can you critique the quality of the show, or do you have to handicap it for the release rollout of not finishing the animation? And thus, this was supposed to be February, I think. It ended up being March 14th when they started rolling out Season B. You can even see it right there. They stopped the first 4 in November, and then they started this chunk that you had finished.
Yeah, and I don't know, because like I want to also take the perspective of like, what if I watch this show 2 years in the future where all of it's just sitting there on Amazon Prime, right? And I think it still would be really enjoyable, but it's a show that seems to require a lot of labor, and if that's the labor it takes, I wonder if they should have just waited for all of it to be ready and not dropped 4, or if they want to move to doing like 2-hour event movies once every year or 9 months or something like that, cool. Yeah. But it feels like you got to kind of commit one direction or the other.
I felt the same way, that the rollout affected it. I do think that that's a crucial thing. I understand that in the future, it'll be different once you see it all. But if I could hit you with a little bit of a devil's advocate there.
Please.
In the future, can't they MCU retcon, DLC it? There was a lot of arguments that the animation didn't look as crispy as it used to be. I saw the first 4 episodes, and I booted up the last one. It looked different than what I remember seeing in November. So aren't you also like, you're reviewing what you're reviewing right now, and that's appropriate. Seeing it in the future, they could add other elements to it.
True.
Zach, these were not the ratings for these episodes back when they premiered. IMDb owned by Prime is all I'm saying, but I've been seeing
collusion.
I've been seeing some crazy scores for the last ones. So I think I'm going to be more on your side where I think the fans are wanting to like it a little bit more and not realizing that it's okay. Every franchise, every series goes through this. It's the season 2 lulls.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, it is still good. It is still worth watching. It's just not good. I don't think it's going to be remembered as its best season.
I think I'm going to agree with you as well. But
Yeah.
there it is. Any new characters that you liked?
New characters. Well, Sterling K.
Or
Brown
scenes
voices.
to look forward to?
Sterling K. Brown voices an interesting character this season. It's also just the fact that, like, this is the exception to the celebrity voice acting rule, in that, like, every celebrity who does show up on this show somehow is giving 110%, giving a really excellent performance. I don't know. Yeah, it honestly, it was spending more time with certain characters that I like, that I think I appreciated. I think I forget his character's name, but Jason Mantzoukas' character Rex maybe has a nice arc on this season.
That man talks and I just see him in the booth with the beard and everything. I see the beard in the way of the mic.
Right. Brushing up against it, Jen.
Will brought up the length of these episodes just makes the animation process, which is already tedious, even more so. When I had booted up on the other ones, I forgot these were 45 minutes.
Sometimes pushing an hour. They are long episodes.
Wow.
And that's part of why I feel like, kind of go one way or the other. Like, give us all of it at once, or turn them into, like, event movies or something like that. I don't know.
I agree with you there. I'm going to be even more controversial and say that when you have 45-minute episodes and the such, I don't think the animation got worse. Y'all just didn't realize it was just comic frames.
They do sort of have a fun meta moment where they talk about the animation with it. So.
No way. Okay. Gotta get on it.